ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Hello students, now let us continue with root system. If you can recollect it back what we have discussed about root so far, what are the things we discussed? For the thing what we have discussed is types of root. What are the two types of roots we have studied? So in the root system, where are we in the discussion? We are in the discussion of types of root. Where are we? We are in the discussion about types of root. So what is the concept we are discussing now? Root system. What is the concept we are discussing? Root system. So root system, if you take the very basic types, if you look at, we have two types. What are the two types? Basic types: tap root system and fibrous root system. So we have two categories: tap root system and fibrous root system. Apart from tap root, these are the main two categories. In most of the plants, 90 to 95% of the plants, of course if you take 80% 90% of dicots, they contain tap root. Remaining 10% to 15% are monocots, they contain fibrous root system. Apart, these two together occupy 90 to 95% of the plants. These two occupies 90 to 95% of the plants. Here and there, in very rarely, in few plants, we find the third category. What is the third category? Adventitious root system. What is the third category? Adventitious root system. That's why I told you in the very beginning, the first two basic categories, tap and fibrous, we discussed. Now let us talk about the third category, adventitious root system. Now let us start with this. What is adventitious root system? It is a type of fibrous root system. It is a type of a fibrous root system. Alright, so basic types are two, tap and fibrous. Adventitious we find in few plants. Okay, so if you take this adventitious root system, it's also a type of fibrous root system, but with little modifications, with slight modifications. That's why we write basic things are two types, but in some plants along with them we also find adventitious root system. Why we are discussing adventitious root system later? Why? Because it is a type of fibrous root system. Okay, let us talk about adventitious. So here adventitious root system, if you talk about, here you find the roots arises or originates other than radical, or if not from radical. What's the meaning of radical? If you can look at the first class, we discussed about radical and fumule. Okay, in the very first class we discussed about radical and fumule. What are they? I'll tell you again. So when you talk about the root system, when seed, if you take, when seed is on the process called germination, when seed is in the process called germination, so here the seed will undergo cell division. Seed will undergo cell division. So this is in the soil. The cell which undergoes cell division, which is inside the soil, the cell of the seed which is inside the soil undergoes cell division is called radical. Radical undergoes cell division, lead to formation of root system. Radical will undergo cell division. Radical will undergo cell division, lead to formation of root system. What's the meaning of this? Radical is the cell which undergoes cell division. Two cells, two will divide and form four cells. Four will divide and form 8 cells. Like this, it grows and forms what is called as root system. Radicle develops into root system. So the first cell who undergoes cell division, it's called radicle. It's a cell of the seed. I repeat again. Seed at the time of germination, here this will undergo cell division. This root cell will undergo cell division. As a result, it undergo root system. Radicle will undergo cell division, lead to formation of root system. So if the root is developed from radicle, root develops from radicle. Root is the one which develops from what? Develops from radicle. Which root is developed from radicle? The roots which develop from radicle are tap root system and fibrous root system. I repeat again. So what's the thing we are studying? Seed at the time of germination. Seed will divide into two cells. The down cell which is present in the soil, it's called radicle. The upper cell, what is present here, it's called fumule. Fumule is the one undergoes cell division and lead to formation of shoot system. Fumule is the one which undergoes cell division, lead to formation of shoot system. Fumule is the one undergoes cell division. One will become two cells will become 4 cells. Like that, it leads to what is called as shoot system. Remember, in the seed, at the time of germination, seed will undergo and form 2 cells. What are they? Upper cell is called fumule. Fumule will undergo cell division. Fumule leads to formation of shoot system. Similarly, the down cell, what you find in the soil, it's called radicle. Radicle will undergo cell division and lead to formation of what is called root system. The roots which directly develops from radicle, what are they? There are 2 types of roots which develop directly from radicle. What are they? Taproot system and fibrous. That's why we take tap and fibrous are the basic type of roots. Then what is the third one here? Let's come back to third one. Here, roots arises or originates. Again I repeat, roots arises or originates other than radicle, not from radicle. Then from where they arises? They arises from any part of the plant. Any part of the plant other than radicle. Okay, other than radicle. Better the same line I'll write in the same format. 1 second. Let us write a clear statement to remember, to fix it in your mind. Roots arises, originates from any other part of the plant other than radicle. Now easily you can fix this statement in your mind. Okay, so what we are discussing here, the roots arises from where they arise from any other part of the plant, meaning they arise from stem. In some plants they arise from leaf, in some plant they arise from the branches. Any other part of the plant they develop, but not from radicle, meaning other than radicle, are called adventitious roots. Now to know the adventitious root, let us take example for adventitious root. Now if you take adventitious root, guys, you might have seen banyan tree. Everybody very familiar with banyan tree, right? So in the banyan tree, you know the down also branch roots will be there. Aerially also you can see some roots. But if you observe so carefully here, from the branches of the banyan tree, here you can see some hangings. So these hangings are called as the hangings what you find here, these are called as adventitious roots. Why do we call them as adventitious roots? Because they develop from branch of the plant. They develop from where? They are developing from branches, or you can write arrow mark up. They develop from branches. They develop from where? Branches, not from the radicle. Okay, I hope everyone got it. Here they develop from where? They develop from branches, not from radicle. I hope you got it. So apart from the two basic categories, taproot system and fibrous root system, what is the third category? Adventitious root system. So what is adventitious root system? It is a type of fibrous root system. So what exactly meant by adventitious root system meaning here? What is the definition for adventitious root system? Let us take the definition as, the statement is important. Make sure that you note down the statement. What is the statement you have to remember? Roots arises or originates. What do we say? Roots arises or originates from any other part of the plant other than radicle. This root system does not develop from radicle, it develops from any other part of the plant. Any other part means sometimes root develops from the stem. So for example, if you can take what is called sugar cane. So we will discuss later again this type of roots here again. So in this sugar cane, if you observe carefully from where roots originates means, you can clearly see here roots develops from the base of the node. Base of the node. Okay, where on the stem? Where on the stem? Roots arises from the base of the node. From the base of the nodes there is a formation of roots originates. These roots are not from radicle, other than radicle. Other than radicle means radicle is where, from here where root system has to develop. But they are not developing from radicle, they are developing other than radicle, meaning not from radicle. If not from radicle, from where? Any other part of the plant. Which is any other part means which part? It may be stem, it may be base of the stem part, or it may be from the branches. So what is other example? We can take banyan tree. In case of banyan tree, you can see, in Telugu we call oodalu, right? So in banyan tree when you observe here, so you can see free hangings. What are these free hangings? They are nothing but they are called adventitious roots. From where they develop? Adventitious roots develop from the branches. Any other part of the plant other than radicle, if they develop, then they are called as what? Adventitious root system. Right. So here altogether if you take this adventitious root system, now this is what all three categories you have to remember. What are they? We can remember taproot system and fibrous root system, including the third category is what? Adventitious root system. So these are nothing but three types or the three categories of root system. Right. Okay. Now, so far what we discussed about three types. Types of root is completed. Now, when you take the root system completely, on the root system or the total root system is divided into different zones. Okay. So, we can write zones of root system, or we can say root zonation. So, root system if you take, it can be divided into different zones. What are they? Let us take, or we can say here, let us take the taproot system. So if you look at in case of taproot system, so this is what is taproot system. So you all know very well, what do you call this? Primary root, or we call mother axis, primary root or mother axis. So here it lead to formation of what are called lateral roots, and they are called secondary roots. So these are called secondary roots, and these are called tertiary roots. Okay, secondary roots and tertiary roots. Now if you take this zone, the tip of the root system, this is called, this contain meristematic cells. The tip of the root system itself is called as the very first zone. The first zone itself is called as meristematic zone. It's called meristematic zone, or itself is called as meristematic region. Meristematic zone, or we call meristematic region. So here meristematic zone or itself is called meristematic region. So what it contains in meristematic region? Meristematic region, it contains meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue. What this meristematic tissue will do? It undergoes the process called cell division and leads to formation of new cells, and new cells contributes for growth of root system. Growth of root system. What's the meaning of this? So here this is nothing but tip of the root system contain meristematic cells. These meristematic cells, meristematic zone we call, or region we call, this zone contains meristematic tissue. They will undergo cell division. There is a formation of new cells. New cells leads to growth of root system. So this region where cells are dividing and producing new cells, this region itself is called what we call meristematic zone. Okay, but here the meristematic zone here, sometimes it is protected by what we call root cap. Sometimes meristematic zone is protected by a root cap. Meristematic zone is protected by what? Root cap. So here sometimes meristematic cells will undergo cell division and lead to formation of protective layer, so that the thin layer of root will not get ruptured from the soil. It will be healthy and keep on undergoes a process called cell division. So the tip of the root actually it contains actively dividing cells. Actively dividing cells not to get damaged, not to get disturbed, or not to get affected. It is being protected by another layer called root cap. Root cap is present in some roots and it is absent in some other roots. So here the meristematic zone, what is called as, what is produced here, it is also called as calyptrogen. So let us know even other terminologies. It's also called as calyptrogen. When it is called as calyptrogen, when do you call meristematic zone as calyptrogen here? Whenever meristematic zone is covered by root cap, then the meristematic tissue inside the root cap is called, this is what is called calyptrogen. Now calyptrogen is protected by root cap. So root cap is also called as calyptra. Right. So try to remember these terminologies, very simple terminologies. I repeat again, donation of root or regions of the root system if you take. So here you can write even regions of root system. Regions of root system. Okay, so if you take the regions of the root system here, in this case what happens here? First zone what you find here, it's called meristematic zone or meristematic region. If it is protected by root cap, this meristematic region is also called calyptrogen. What this meristematic zone contain? meristematic tissue. Now it has ability to undergo cell division, lead to formation of new cells. New cells are responsible for a growth of the root system. Now as it is being protected by root cap is also called as calyptra. Right. Now once new cells are produced here, these new cells, the new cells which are produced here, they elongate in size. They elongate, they undergo elongation. As soon as the new cells are produced, these cells, they elongate in size. As a result, what happens here? So the second region what they form, it's called as elongation zone. The second one is called elongation zone. So here in this elongation zone, why they get elongated here? Because inside there is a formation of a bigger vacuole. More space of the cell is occupied by volume. So here in this elongation zone there is increase in vacuolation. There is increase in vacuolation. So when vacuoles are increased here, that causes enlargement of the cell. Enlargement of cell. Okay, in elongation what you can see, their vacuoles are produced, vacuoles elongate in size, they occupy maximum space and volume. As a result, cell will get enlarged. And as a result of vacuole here, nucleus is pushed to one corner. So this is nucleus, as because more 90% of the volume is being occupied by vacuole, nucleus will be pushed to one corner. So such type of more vacuolated cells we find in case of elongation zone. I repeat, elongation zone. At the time of elongation, vacuoles are produced, vacuoles occupy more space. So there is increase in vacuolation. As a result, the cell get enlarged. When cell get totally occupied by vacuole, nucleus is pushed to one corner. So as a result, you can see enlargement of cell. The second region which contain bigger cells, enlarged cells, it's called elongation zone. Right. So why elongation means, remember, it's because of increase in vacuolation. Right. Next is slightly upper to this, what you find, it's called as maturation zone. What you find here? Maturation zone. So this is what is called maturation zone. So in case of maturation zone, the cells which are produced here, now they get structurally, functionally they get separated. They completely get matured and they completely get total form of structure, and every cell is assigned with a specific function. So what happens in maturation zone? In maturation zone, cells are structurally and functionally differentiated. Structurally and functionally they are differentiated. Okay, what's the meaning of this structurally? Every cell is assigned with, it will develop its own structure. Every cell is assigned with a specific function to do. Cell is now completely differentiated, it completely produced. Now the cell is structurally and functionally completely it will get differentiated. Now when cell is structurally and functionally differentiated, such type of cells are called, these cells are called mature cells, or they are also called permanent cells. They are called mature cells or permanent cells. What's the meaning of mature cell? Completely developed cells, completely formed cells, and now they'll become permanent. Further they will not undergo any changes. That's why they are called permanent cells. Where do you find mature cells or permanent cells? They are present in case of maturation zone. In maturation zone, How these are produced? Because here elongated cells will undergo structural and functional differentiations, structural changes and functional changes, and finally they will become permanent in structure and function. So they are called matured cells or permanent cells. Now apart from this, there is another character. What is the other character in maturation zone? This is a zone from where there is a formation of root heads. In most of the plant. So here maturation zone, it contains what? I am writing here. Maturation zone, here there is a formation of root heads. Formation of root heads. Meaning root heads are produced. Root heads are get synthesized. Where are the root heads? Here these are the root heads. These are the root heads. Mostly in most of the root systems, in most of the taproot systems, root heads are produced from maturation zone. Maturation zone is characteristic of formation of root heads. Meaning where root heads are mostly synthesized, they synthesized from maturation zone. So here you can see these are called as root heads. So this is nothing but what we call zonation of root, or we call regions of the root system. Let me quickly revise it once again. Listen carefully. What are the three we find? First one is called meristematic zone. Second one is called elongation zone. Third one is called maturation zone. Come back to first one. What is first one? Meristematic zone itself is called region, or itself is called calyptrogen. Why? At the tip of the root system you find meristematic cells. These meristematic cells are tissue, they undergo cell division, lead to formation of new cells. That is how they contribute for growth of root system. Now in some of the plants, the meristematic zone protected by a root cap. So this is what is called root cap. But root cap is not present in all plants. It is present only in few plants. The tip of the root system to get protected, it will get protected from root cap. If root cap is present, then this meristematic zone is also called calyptrogen. As it's been protected by root cap is also called as calyptra. Right. Now if you look at the new cells which are young new cells which are produced here appears in meristematic zone. Then later what happens? These meristematic cells, they enlarge in size. How do they get enlarged in size? Inside there is a formation of vacuoles. Vacuoles slowly increase in their size and occupy maximum space. So that is what we call increase in vacuolation. Vacuoles are produced and they get enlarged and they occupy more space. That causes enlargement of the cell. That causes what? Enlargement of the cell. Cell increases in size as maximum space is being occupied by vacuole. Nucleus does not have space. It is pushed to one corner. Maximum space is being occupied by vacuole. Nucleus is pushed to one corner. Right. These are the changes what you find in elongation zone. This name is given because there is an enlargement of cell. Then slightly upper to this, after cells get elongated, the cells, these elongated cells, some of these elongated cells, they undergo a structural and functional differentiations. Cells are structurally and functionally, they completely get developed and without further no modifications. Now we call them as maturation cells or matured cells or permanent cells. Structurally how they get differentiated? Guys, if you can remember, for the last class I told you, structure wise the tissues are of three types. What are they? Parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. What are the three tissues? Parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. the three types of tissue. See what I have drawn here, this is parenchyma. Let us imagine. Some cells develops into parenchyma. Some cells develops into what is called sclerenchyma. Structurally they get differentiated and every cell is assigned with specific function to do. Right. So this here, this is what is called structurally and functionally they are differentiated. Now these cells are called mature cells and permanent cells. Now this maturation zone is also characteristic of containing the formation of root hairs. So root hairs originates from where? From the maturation zone. They get formed and produced from the maturation zone. In most of the plants, root hairs most commonly observed in the maturation zone. Okay, this is what is called root zonation or regions of the root system. Okay, now let us continue with root modifications. Let's continue with root modifications. So far what we discussed, what is root system, types of root system, root zonation. Now let's go with root modifications. First of all, before I going to start with this, what exactly meaning of modification here? So in generally you can see you can tell me the common meaning. Modification means a change. Okay, it is undergoing some differentiation. So here first let me give you definition for modification, then we will talk about all types of modifications. So first of all, let us define what is called a modification. Let us define a root modification. So here we can write the permanent change in a shape of the root to perform special functions such as storage, photosynthesis, respiration, nitrogen fixation, etc. So what is the definition we have written? The permanent change in the shape of the root means the shape of the root, you know, taproot system, the shape, right? You know, fibrous root system, bunch of roots. The shape of these root systems, they get altered, they will get modified, they will undergo permanent change. What is the meaning of permanent change? Once they get changed, they will not come back to their original form. There is a permanent change where in the structure of the root, in the shape of the root will be modified. Why it is modified? To perform a special function such as, what are the special functions it will do? General root functions are what? Absorption of water and minerals and providing mechanical support. Apart from these general functions, it will modify its shape to perform a special functions. What special functions root will perform? In some plants, root may store the food. So it may perform storage. For example, you can take, you know, carrot. Carrot, you know, this is nothing but conical shape, carrot. Right. So carrot is nothing but what? It's a storage root. Carrot is nothing but what? It's a storage root. So actually this is a root. Root modify itself and stores food, and it is a special function what is being performed. Similarly, in some plants, roots will undergo some structural changes, some structural function, permanent changes. What are they? Structural permanent changes. Maybe they perform what is called photosynthesis. In some plants, roots are modified. They undergo some permanent change in the shape and they perform respiration. In some other plants, root will undergo modification and perform the function called nitrogen fixation. These all are nothing but what? Special functions. Why do we call them as special functions? Generally in most of the plants, root may not perform all these functions. What is the function? General functions, absorption of water and minerals and mechanical support. Apart from these general cases, in few plants, roots are modified in the change in the shape and permanent change in the shape, and they do special functions like these all. Then if it undergoes some change, a permanent structural change, then that is called root modification. Roots are getting modified. Why they are getting modified? To perform special functions. This. Okay. Right. Now let us talk about this topic. This topic is very important. So guys, let us pay complete concentration now. Let us talk about the first one, taproot modifications. Taproot, let us take two categories, taproot modifications and adventitious root modifications. Adventitious root modifications. Okay, so what are they? Root modifications are of two types. What are the two types? Basically, when it is produced, it's a taproot, but it will undergo some modifications. Then that will come under taproot modifications. Basically, they are adventitious roots. What are adventitious? They produce from any part of the plant other than radicle. They are adventitious roots, but still they undergo some modifications. Okay. Now let us talk about very first one. Keep the first subheading. What is that? Taproot modifications. Okay. So in this taproot modifications, altogether we have four types. One is storage roots, and second category is nodular roots. Then third one is respiratory root. Then what we call photosynthetic roots. Photosynthetic roots, and then buttress roots. Buttress roots. So this all types of roots, they fall in the category called taproot modifications. Okay, what are they? Storage roots, nodular roots, respiratory roots, photosynthetic roots and buttress roots. Let us start one by one. Let us take the very first one, storage roots. What is the very first one? Let us start with storage roots. So what do we write here? The root undergoes some modifications, and here root is involved in, or it stores food materials. Right? So why do you call roots here storage roots? As the name indicates, roots stores food materials. So what do you write here? The change in the shape of the root. What you will write here for storage root? The permanent change in the shape of the root to perform a special function as storage. Now we are discussing very first one. What is the special function they do in some plants? So storage. So the first one we call them as what? Storage roots. Right. So here root stores food materials. So when root stores food material, it forms a different shape. It forms a different shape. What is the different shape? Let us take for example, it may be conical shape. The best example for conical shape is Daucus carota. Daucus carota. Daucus carota is a scientific name for carrot. Okay, so Daucus carota is a scientific name for what? Carrot. So if you look at the carrot, in case of carrot, as we have drawn here, the same thing I am drawing here once again. So this is how carrot looks like. Right. So what is the shape of this carrot here? That is conical shape. Okay, I repeat again. Root is the one which stores food material. When it is storing the food material, in some plants, the root will undergo changes in their shape. In some roots, you find some different type of shapes. Okay, then that thing, such kind of root we find most commonly in case of Daucus carota. This is a scientific name for the organism carrot, for the vegetable called carrot. So here this is Daucus carota. Daucus carota is a scientific name for carrot. What is the shape here? That is nothing but we call this is here conical shape. The shape is conical shape. Okay, then here napiform shape. Napiform shape. What napiform shape we find in case of Beta vulgaris. Beta vulgaris. It's a scientific name for beetroot. It's a scientific name for beetroot. So napiform shape we find in case of Beta vulgaris. What is this Beta vulgaris? It's a scientific name for beetroot. Beetroot scientifically it is called Beta vulgaris. Beetroot is a common name. Right. Now if you look at in case of beetroot here, now for beetroot we draw the shape like this. So it will be like this. Okay. What do you call this shape? The shape is, so I think it is not visible. I'll draw here. So here the shape is like this. So the shape is like this. This shape is called as what? Napiform. The shape is called as what? Napiform. Then in some cases it is fusiform shape. What is fusiform shape? Where do you find? It is found in case of Raphanus sativus. Raphanus sativus. So what is Raphanus sativus? I'll write here. It's nothing but radish. Radish is a common name. For radish, Raphanus sativus is a scientific name. What is the shape of this radish? It is fusiform. How it looks like? You know, it looks like this. So it is like this. This shape is called as fusiform. This shape is called as fusiform. It comes like this. So it's called fusiform. So we have studied about three different shapes. What are the three different shapes we read? Conical shape. What is that? Storage roots. Root stores food material. What is the first shape? Conical shape. Example, Daucus carota. Daucus carota is a scientific name for carrot. This is how the shape looks like. This is called conical shape. Similarly, in some plants, we find napiform shape. What is the example? Beta vulgaris is a scientific name for beetroot. So, what is the napiform? This is what is called napiform shape. Beetroot. Generally, if you take the beetroot, this is how it looks like, right? That shape is napiform shape. Other one is fusiform shape. What is the example? Raphanus sativus. Raphanus sativus is a scientific name for what? Radish. Raphanus sativus is a scientific name for radish, right? So this is how it looks like. The shape what it comes here itself is called as fusiform shape. So what is the concept we studied today? Root system. Make sure that you write the concept for root system. As I told you to come to the last pages here. So what is the last page? We have two tables we are writing now. Let's take two today because we have done the concept. So here, who is the scientist? I am giving you scientist number 4, I think. Atharvana Veda. Atharvana Veda. So in ancient time of what you call in early ancient times, he is the one who studied about medicinal plants and uses. Medicinal plants and uses. Okay, today I'll give you only two scientists, don't worry. Who is the scientist? Atharvana Veda. In ancient times, Atharvana Veda described and studied medicinal plants and uses. Okay, simply remember ancient period of time. Who is the scientist? Atharvana Veda. Along with Aristotle and Theophrastus, Atharvana Veda also studied about medicinal plants and uses. Okay, and the second scientist, next scientist, Parasara. Parasara also studied about medicinal plants. Okay, let us directly write down. He wrote two books. He wrote directly two books. What are the two books here? The very first book is Krishi Parasaram. This is one book, Parasaram. And this book has information about weeds. And other book is Rukshayurveda. Ruksh. Here, K you write down. Ruksh Ayurveda. This is a book which he studied about medicinal plants. Okay, so Parasara is a scientist. Okay, he also studied about medicinal plants and he wrote two books. What are the two books? One is Krishi Parasaram. Krishi Parasaram book, in that he mentioned information about weeds. Second one is Rukshayurveda. In this he studied about medicinal plants. I just repeat, Atharvana Veda studied about medicinal plants and uses. Scientist number 4. And who is the other scientist? Today we are reading only two scientists. Parasara. Parasara wrote two books. Which are the two books? Krishi Parasaram about weeds. That is mentioned about weeds. Rukshayurveda. This is about medicinal plants. Now this is table number 1. Today we have taken two scientists. Come to table number 2, we take the two scientific names. Which are the two scientific names today? Let us take Dolichus lab. What is this? Dolichus lab. Common name is beans. Okay, Dolichus lab. At home, mom prepares that bean curry. Just immediately you just recollect in your mind, oh, bean curry, the scientific name, bean scientific name is Dolichus lab. Similarly, Dalbergia latifolia. Dalbergia latifolia. So this is nothing but common name, Indian rosewood. So try to remember the scientific name and common name. This is number 4 and 5. Okay, today we are studying two scientific names. The common name is beans. Beans scientifically it is called Dolichus lab. Look for pronunciation again. Dolichus lab. Dolichus lab. Beans. Okay, and next one is Dalbergia latifolia. Dalbergia latifolia. It's called as what? Indian rosewood. Guys, just 1 minute. I'll just show you. So in first year, guys, there is one guy who has written who kept the notebook, who has written very well. I just want to show you the way how he has written, because you should not have any confusion in your mind. So from the last few pages, so here, look at here, a scientific name of from the last 20 pages you take. Look at here. So he has made the table taking the last 15-20 pages. See how nicely it is written. So for table number 1, so what is it written here? Table number 1, what is given here? Scientist name and discovery. Look at here how nicely it is written. Aristotle, Theophrastus, Robert Hooke. And about the information it is mentioned. From the last 15-20 pages it's left. and written table number 1 including scientific name and discovery, right, and leaving more 20 pages or 15 pages. Table number 2 is written very well here. Look at here how nicely this boy has written scientific name of the plant and common name. See here how nicely it's written Arachis hypogea, Kajan, Sizer, Crotalaria, all 4, right, table number 2. And moreover, this guy has taken some last few pages and practiced that each one nearly 3 times. See here in the last pages he practiced each scientist name nearly 3 times. Look at here Aristotle 3 times, Theophrastus 3 times, Robert Hooke 3 times. In the next page immediately on the same day, it's very nice to see that second table also each one is practiced nearly 3 times. See here Arachis, Kajanus, Sizer and Crotalaria. See, first day work is done 3 times. When he practiced, definitely there is every possibility of remembering the concept in the mind. And then the first pages, from the first pages started writing morphology notes. From the first pages started writing morphology notes. See how nicely the notes is being written like this. I expect incoming juniors, make sure that you keep one separate notebook, write the concept from the beginning and make sure that table 1 you take from the last pages. So this is how table 1 you make it and leave some pages, make table number 2. It is very fine and very awesome work if you can do. Practice on the same book in the last pages if you can practice every day 3 times or 4 times or 5 times. If you can revise thoroughly every day 3 or 2 scientists, this really becomes awesome and that work is highly appreciated.